Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today you're going to be cracking open Brian Tracy's $1,000,000 Habits
Yeah.
to see if we can unlock some of that success wisdom he's so famous for.
You know what really struck me when I was reading this
Yeah.
was how Tracy doesn't just throw around these vague ideas about
Right.
being your best self.
Mhm.
He gets down to brass tacks.
Yeah.
Of practical, actionable steps, you know?
Okay.
He even says outright, this
Huh?
isn't a book about theory, it's a book about doing.
Okay, so action over words.
Exactly.
But where does he even suggest we start?
Well, he starts by laying out a pretty bold premise.
Yeah.
Success at its core is about habits.
Okay.
Not luck, not talent, but habits.
Mhm.
He argues that if you can learn and consistently practice the right habits, you can achieve pretty much anything.
That's a big claim.
It is a big claim.
But how does that tie into the bigger picture of, say, happiness and our overall goals in life?
That's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Tracy argues that all humans share three fundamental goals:
Good.
to be happy,
Okay.
to be healthy, and to be successful.
Got it.
And he sees these goals as interconnected, you know?
Hmm.
For example,
Yeah.
he says a whopping 85% of our happiness
Wow.
is directly tied to the quality of our relationships.
So it's not just about climbing the corporate ladder then.
No.
It's about nurturing those connections
Exactly.
with the people around us.
Mm-hmm.
That's something most of us could probably work on, right?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And when it comes to success, Tracy's really big on finding work that you genuinely enjoy.
Right.
He says, if you dread going to work every day,
Yeah.
it's going to be that much harder to build those positive success-driving habits.
So let's say you found work you love.
Right.
How do you start building those $1,000,000 habits? Where do you even begin?
Tracy suggests something he calls modeling excellence.
Okay.
It's a fascinating concept.
Mhm.
He says, look at people who are already successful in your field. What are they doing? What habits do they have? And then try to break down those behaviors and adapt them to your own life. It's almost like reverse engineering success.
That actually reminds me of something Benjamin Franklin did.
Oh, yeah.
He had this whole experiment where he focused on developing one virtue each week.
Okay.
Things like temperance order industry.
Right.
It was like deliberate habit formation centuries before anyone was calling it that.
That's a great connection.
Yeah.
And this all ties into another big idea in the book, the
Yep.
power of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Tracy dives into various mental laws, like the law of belief, the law of expectation, the law of attraction.
Okay.
But the one that really stuck with me was the law of correspondence.
Okay. I've heard of the law of attraction.
Right.
But the law of correspondence is a new one for me. What's that all about?
Essentially, it means your outer world is a reflection of your inner world.
Okay.
So if you're constantly thinking negative thoughts,
Yeah.
you're more likely to experience negative outcomes. Conversely, if you cultivate a positive mindset, you're more likely to attract positive experiences.
So it's not just some mystical woo-woo stuff.
No.
It's about the very real impact our thoughts and voice have
Exact.
on our actions and ultimately our results.
Yeah, and Tracy takes this a step further.
Okay.
He says successful people are very deliberate about directing their mental energy. They focus on what they want and how to achieve it.
Okay.
Unsuccessful people, on the other hand, tend to dwell on what they don't want
Right.
and all the things that they're afraid of.
So it's about training your mind to focus on solutions rather than problems.
Exactly.
That sounds great in theory,
Sure.
but we all have those limiting beliefs and fears holding us back, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we break free from those?
Well, that's one of the core challenges Tracy addresses.
Okay.
He argues that we're all born with incredible potential, but we often sabotage ourselves with these negative habit patterns.
Okay.
He even gets specific, outlining two main types:
Okay.
the inhibitive negative habit pattern and the compulsive negative habit pattern.
Okay, those sound like very official psychological terms.
They do.
Can you break those down for us?
Sure.
What do those patterns actually look like in real life?
Well, the inhibitive negative habit pattern is all about fear of failure.
Okay.
It's that voice in your head that says, don't even try, you're going to mess it up.
Right.
The compulsive negative habit pattern, on the other hand, stems from a need for approval. People stuck in this pattern are constantly seeking validation from others
Yeah.
and are terrified of disapproval or criticism.
So one's about fear of failure and the other's about fear of judgment.
That's a good way to put it.
It seems like both of those could really paralyze you if you let them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And to illustrate how these patterns can be overcome,
Yeah.
Tracy even shares his own personal story.
Okay.
He talks about starting out with laboring jobs, working on a freighter, struggling in sales.
Yeah.
Not exactly the picture of a self-help guru, right?
Yeah. It's kind of refreshing to hear that even someone like Brian Tracy didn't start out at the top.
Right.
It makes his whole message about building habits and achieving success feel much more attainable, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And what's really key here is how Tracy emphasizes self-esteem
Okay.
as the antidote to fear.
Okay.
He argues that the more you like yourself, the less power those negative habit patterns have over you.
Hmm.
It's about building that inner confidence and belief in your own abilities.
So we're starting to understand our minds recognizing those negative patterns.
Right.
But how do we actually reprogram ourselves with these million-dollar habits? What's the practical approach?
Well, that's where the rubber meets the road.
Okay.
Tracy highlights the law of habit, which states that any habit, good or bad, is formed through repetition.
Right.
The key is to focus on one new habit at a time.
Okay.
Practice it consistently and visualize yourself already embodying that habit. He's very big on visualization as a tool for change.
So instead of trying to overhaul your entire life overnight,
Right.
it's about choosing one specific habit
Yes,
and making it a consistent part of your routine.
exactly.
Right.
And to understand how habits work,
Yeah.
Tracy introduces what he calls the SBC model.
Okay.
It stands for stimulus,
Okay.
behavior,
Got it.
consequence.
Okay.
Essentially, it's about recognizing the triggers that lead to our actions and the results those actions create.
Okay, so if I'm understanding this correctly,
Yeah.
it means we can actually design our environment and our responses
Yes.
to shape the habits we want.
Exactly.
It's about taking conscious control instead of letting those automatic patterns run the show.
That's the goal.
So we're starting to reprogram our minds,
Right.
break free from those negative patterns.
Yeah.
But let's get practical here.
Sure.
One of the things that drew me to this book
Mm-hmm.
was Tracy's focus on building wealth.
Yeah.
He has a whole chapter dedicated to becoming a millionaire.
Right.
What are some of the key takeaways there?
Well, Tracy's approach to wealth building is surprisingly grounded.
Okay.
He doesn't promise any get-rich-quick schemes.
Right. Yeah.
Instead, he emphasizes the importance of long-term thinking
Okay.
and consistent action. He talks about saving regularly,
Okay.
investing wisely, and controlling spending.
That sounds like pretty standard financial advice.
It does.
What makes Tracy's perspective unique?
Well, what sets Tracy apart is how he frames these actions as habits.
Okay.
He's not just saying save money.
Right.
He's saying make saving a regular, automatic part of your life.
Okay.
For example,
Yeah.
he is a big proponent of the pay yourself first philosophy, setting aside a portion of your income for savings
Right.
before you even think about spending.
He's also a big believer in the power of compound interest.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember that being a big theme in the book.
Yeah. He really hammers home the idea that even small amounts of money invested consistently over time can grow exponentially.
Right.
Thanks to the magic of compounding.
Yeah.
He even uses this analogy of a snowball rolling downhill, getting bigger and bigger as it picks up more snow.
Right.
That's the power of compound interest at work.
Okay. That makes sense. But let's be honest, saving money can be tough.
Sure.
Especially when you're first starting out.
Yeah,
Does Tracy offer any practical tips
he does.
for making it easy?
But one of the most intriguing concepts he introduces
Right.
is what he calls the wedge theory.
Okay.
The idea is to save 50%
50%.
of every pay raise you get.
Wait, 50%, that sounds pretty drastic.
It does sound like a lot,
Yeah.
but Tracy argues it's a more achievable strategy than you might think.
Okay.
By automatically saving half of every raise, you're increasing your savings rate
Right.
without significantly impacting your current lifestyle.
That's a really interesting way to think about it.
It is.
It's like building those savings gradually
Right.
without feeling like you're making huge sacrifices.
Exactly. It's about creating a system that works for you,
Okay.
saving a habit rather than a chore.
So we're saving, we're investing.
Mm-hmm.
But what about our careers? How do those million-dollar habits translate into professional success?
Well, Tracy's advice here is to first identify your strengths
Okay.
and focus on work that aligns with them. He argues that doing what you excel at is key to both career satisfaction
Okay.
and financial success.
Got it.
He even says success is easy when you love what you're doing.
That sounds nice. But how do you figure out what your strengths even are?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Tracy suggests paying attention to what energizes you, what you naturally gravitate towards.
Yeah.
What activities do you lose track of time doing?
Right.
Those are often clues to your strengths.
Okay, so you've identified your strengths and you're working in a field that you enjoy.
Right.
What are some other habits that can help you excel in your career?
One of the big ones is continuous learning. Tracy is a huge advocate for lifelong learning and believes that consistently expanding your skills and knowledge is essential for staying ahead in any field.
Okay.
He even suggests that reading 500 books in your field
500.
could make you one of the most knowledgeable and valuable people in your industry.
Wow.
It's a bold claim,
Yeah.
but it really highlights the importance he places on ongoing education.
500 books. That's a pretty ambitious reading list.
It is.
But I get his point. It's about investing in yourself.
Exactly.
Constantly seeking out new knowledge and perspectives.
And it's not just about reading.
Right.
It's about seeking out mentors, taking courses, attending industry events.
Yeah.
Anything that can help you expand your knowledge and skill set.
It's like that saying, sharpen the saw.
Right.
You've got to keep investing in yourself to stay sharp and competitive.
Exactly. And Tracy doesn't just talk about acquiring knowledge.
Okay.
He also emphasizes the importance of applying it.
Right.
He talks about being action-oriented, taking initiative and getting things done.
Yeah.
Quickly and efficiently.
So it's not enough to just be smart. You have to be proactive.
Right.
And get things done.
Precisely. He even introduces this concept called the 1000% formula.
Okay.
To illustrate the power of consistent incremental improvement.
Okay.
The idea is to increase your productivity by just 1/110th of 1% each day.
That doesn't sound like much, but it probably adds up over time, right?
That's the point.
Yeah.
Just like with compound interest, those small gains compound over time, leading to significant results in the long run.
Okay.
He argues that this kind of consistent, focused effort is what separates top performers from everyone else.
So we're building our knowledge, taking action, constantly improving.
Right.
What else does Tracy highlight as being crucial for career success?
Here's where he circles back to something we talked about earlier.
Okay.
Relationships.
Right.
We already discussed how vital strong relationships are for happiness.
Yeah.
But Tracy argues they're equally important for professional success.
So it's not just about what you know. It's about who you know.
It's more nuanced than that.
Okay.
It's about building genuine connections, cultivating a network of support and collaboration.
Okay.
He highlights 5 key habits for better relationships.
Okay.
Acceptance, appreciation,
Okay.
admiration,
Got it.
approval, and attention.
Those sound more like personal relationship advice than career advice.
That's true.
Yeah.
But Tracy argues that these habits are essential skills for building rapport, trust, and influence in any setting, including the workplace.
So you're saying that even in a professional context,
Yes.
it's important to show genuine appreciation for your colleagues, to listen attentively, and to create a positive and supportive atmosphere.
Exactly, and to illustrate the importance of listening.
Okay.
Tracy even dives into the specifics of effective listening.
Okay.
He says to listen attentively, pause before replying, ask clarifying questions, and paraphrase to ensure understanding.
It sounds simple.
It does.
But putting those habits into practice can be challenging.
Yeah.
We're often so focused on getting our own point across
Right.
that we forget to truly listen to what the other person is saying.
That's why Tracy emphasizes these listening skills as habits. The more we practice them, the more natural they become.
So we've covered habits for success,
Right.
relationships, and wealth building. What else does Tracy dive into?
They're shifting gears a bit.
Okay.
Tracy also dedicates a whole chapter to the habits of living a healthy life.
Okay.
He emphasizes the importance of maintaining a healthy weight, eating a balanced diet, exercising regularly, and getting enough sleep.
That sounds like pretty standard health advice.
It is.
What's Tracy's unique take on it?
Well, what's interesting is how he frames these actions as habits. Like everything else. He's not just saying eat healthy.
Right.
He's saying make healthy eating a regular ingrained part of your life.
So it's not about going on a crash diet.
Oh.
It's about making sustainable changes
Exactly.
to your eating habits over time.
And one of the things I found really helpful was his advice on cutting out what he calls the 3 white poisons.
Okay. 3 white poisons. That sounds ominous.
It does.
What are they?
He's talking about salt, sugar, and white flour.
Oh, okay.
He suggests eliminating these from your diet as much as possible for a quick and noticeable health boost.
That's a pretty simple change to make.
Yeah.
And it could potentially have a big impact on your health.
Exactly. It's about focusing on those small, achievable changes that can add up over time.
It seems like that's a recurring theme in this book.
It is.
The power of small, consistent actions.
Absolutely. And in addition to diet and exercise, Tracy also stresses the importance of regular medical and dental checkups.
Right.
It's about being proactive with your health, not just reacting when things go wrong.
So we've covered habits for success.
Right.
Relationships, health, and even finances. But Tracy doesn't stop there, does he?
He doesn't. He also dives into the habits of developing strong character.
Okay, character development. That sounds a bit more philosophical.
It does.
What are some of the key takeaways there?
This is where he shares the fascinating story of Alfred Nobel, the inventor of dynamite.
Yeah.
Nobel was mistakenly declared dead.
Oh, wow.
And had the unsettling experience of reading his own obituary.
Wow, that would be a wake-up call.
It was, which focused heavily on the destructive potential of his invention.
Right.
This experience prompted Nobel to establish the Nobel Prizes, showcasing how a powerful vision can reshape actions and legacy. Tracy uses this story to illustrate how we all have the power to choose what we stand for and what impact we want to make on the world.
It's a powerful reminder that our character is shaped by our choices.
Exactly.
And that even seemingly small actions can have a ripple effect.
Yeah, and Tracy goes on to emphasize the importance of virtues, like courage, responsibility, honesty, loyalty, persistence, and gratitude. He sees these qualities as the building blocks of a strong character and a meaningful life.
These all sound like admirable qualities.
They are.
But how do they translate into habits?
Well, what's interesting is how Tracy connects these virtues back to the idea of habit formation. He's saying that character isn't some innate quality. It's built through consistent practice. It's about making those ethical choices over and over again until they become second nature.
So it's like we're training our moral muscles just like we train our physical muscles at the gym.
Right.
The more we exercise those virtues, the stronger they become.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
It's about aligning our actions with our values. And that consistency, that commitment to doing the right thing, even when it's hard, is what ultimately builds trust and respect.
Right.
Both in ourselves and in the eyes of others.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. Habits for success. For relationships, for health, for finances, and even for developing strong character.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to take in.
It is.
But if there's one key takeaway from all of this, it's that success in any area of life isn't about some magical formula or overnight transformation.
No, it's about building the right habits. Those small, consistent actions that compound over time.
Brian Tracy suggests that we all possess far more potential than we realize.
Absolutely.
What's $1 million habit you could start building today to unlock more of your own potential?
Well, it doesn't have to be something huge.
Right.
Maybe it's committing to reading for 30 minutes each day.
Okay.
Practicing gratitude for 5 minutes every morning. Or setting aside a small amount of money each week for savings.
Yeah.
The important thing is to choose something that resonates with you.
Right.
Something that aligns with your goals and values.
Start small, be consistent, and watch those positive changes unfold.
I love it.
It's been a fascinating journey exploring million-dollar habits with you.
I've enjoyed it too.
It's amazing how much practical wisdom is packed into this book.
It really is.
And hey, we've got more deep dives coming your way.
Oh, yeah.
On all sorts of interesting topics, so stay tuned.